So everyone, welcome. This is our June meeting for the Ó Dochartaigh Clann Association, and we are sponsoring today Irish with Mollie, and Mollie has joined us. She'll introduce herself in just a minute. I just want to tell all of you how grateful we are that you're joining us. We in the Ó Dochartaigh Clann Association have been running these Zoom meetings on a variety of topics over the last year and a half, and many of them have been connected to genealogy and DNA and clan history. And we are trying to also connect to Irish culture. So we have this meeting today. Just as a reminder, we have a couple of upcoming gatherings in July. We're having one that is a Zoom call that is on the 19th. It's called Getting It Right and has to do with how to document your genealogy, family tree research, items, names, places, those kind of things, so that those search engines can more easily help you find more information about your family. And then we're going to have an in-person meeting in Inishowen in County Donegal in a little town called Kildaff at McGrory's. The pub hotel restaurant is owned by a man named Paddy Doherty, nicknamed Glacken. So that will be July 23rd in the evening. We're going to have a pub quiz. Someone started to advertise that it was going to be a pub crawl. Now, we're not crawling from pub to pub. We're only going to be at one pub. But if you end up crawling, it is a hotel. So you could decide to stay there too if you needed to. But we're going to be there and look forward to seeing anyone that's also going to be in that area on July 23rd. And we just started our YouTube channel. We have one video up. It's the class that Zach did on YDNA. So be sure to search that out. It's at Ó Dochartaigh Clann Association. And I know that everyone struggles a little bit with that old spelling of Ó Dochartaigh, but I always say it Ochartaigh. And if you think of it that way, you get all the letters in there. So the Ó Dochartaigh Clann Association, that's our YouTube channel. So those are all the announcements. We're done being boring, and I'm going to turn the time over to Mollie.
Hi, Gachtina. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me and see me okay?
Yes.
You can. Intach. Brilliant. I'm going to share my screen with you and we will crack on. So let me know if you can see this clearly. It says Fulcha. Fulcha is welcome, Oscailge, in Irish. Say it with me. Fulcha.
Culture.
Perfect. Ah, Noah, perfect. Fulcha. So there's an accent over the A. This is the only accent in the Irish language. It's called the fada, meaning long. So we hear fall, then we smile into the eyes, says you. Irish eyes do be smiling. So fulcha. But of course, in Ireland, we wouldn't just say welcome. We'd say 100,000. Céad míle fulcha. So we'll have a look at that. And I am so thrilled to have you here and have the opportunity to speak with the Ó Dochartaigh. I'm sure a lot of you know where the name Ó Dochartaigh comes from. Dochartaigh, the hurt or sad or saddened. So, so much weight, so much co-opt power in the names of ours, and quite a calling there to think about how language and culture holds so much meaning and soul for us. And when names are anglicized, we'll have a look at how that kind of mangles things into oblivion. But anyway, Fulcha Gachtina, welcome everyone. And this beach is actually not too far from Carndonna. Maybe some of you recognize this beach in County Donegal. It's up in Glencullen. So let's see, I can move along. Anawa, Ó Dochartaigh Association. So Fulcha is welcome. And like I mentioned, not one, not two, but Céad míle Fulcha. Say it together with me. Céad míle Fulcha. I want to see your mouths moving. Oh, no, very good. Céad míle Fulcha. If you feel like it, write it down. Maybe you have a pian agus paper, pen and paper. maybe say it out loud, hear it in your own voice. Get your jaw and your tongue around those sounds because language acquisition is all about recall and usage, using what you're learning. Céad míle fáilte, literally 100,000 welcomes. And we hear that long A in the first word, céad here. And then the long I, míle. And the long ó, fáilte. Céad míle fáilte. A bit of a mouthful, but you know how Irish people love to talk. So there we go. Fill up the words, fill up the expressions. Céad míle fáilte. It is truly so wonderful to feel your curiosity, enthusiasm, and your interest and passion and pride. That's the main thing for your clan, the language, the culture, and learning more. So is misha, Mollie. Is misha means it's me. So in black here, I have is misha, Mollie. In pink, it's the phonetic aid. So that's how it's pronounced, is misha. And then my name, Mollie. So say to yourself, is misha, Kathleen, or is misha, Mara, is misha, Rosie, is misha. Anawa. Love to see your mouths moving, getting those sounds around your ears and your tongue. Ismisha Brian, Anawa, Ismisha Hazel. Goholin, beautiful. So I'm from Dublin, Ireland, and maybe you're thinking, what kind of Irish surname is Gaidra? Most people would say Guidera, or I don't know, think that it's Spanish or Portuguese or that it's my married name, but it is my maiden name and it's from County Tipperary. So my family are from County Tip, up Tip, and pictured here is my grandmother on her scooter, the first woman in Ireland with a scooter, apparently. And you see she's in the bog with the turf stacked behind her. And she gave me a gra more. Gra is love. Again, we have the fada, the accent, stretching that word out. Gra more, big love. Say it with me, gra more. Beautiful, Mara. Gra more. And it's a lovely way to sign off your WhatsApp messages or your Facebook messages, your emails, a phone call, gra more. Nice way to use Irish every day. Throw it into your lexicon. So she really inspired me to embrace the language, and she lit a spark that has really grown into, the most integral, influential part of my life, sharing the language and unraveling the logic and the patterns. Irish is such a patterned, it's orthographically shallow, so it's actually a very consistent language. A lot of people would say, how? Because it doesn't look how it sounds, but it actually does. It's only that we speak English because of colonization, and we think that it's going to sound like English or look like English, but 'tis a different language altogether. So gra more, love big. The noun is coming first. Gra is the noun, gra is love, more is big. So my big vision is to experience Ireland as a country where Irish is spoken proudly and with pleasure, and citizens are excited to keep the language alive across generations. We have a shan uckle, shan meaning old, fuckle is word. So this is a proverb or old word. Tir gan shanga, tir gan anam. Let's say it together. Tir is a country. We have again a fada. Tir gan changa. So country without language. Tir gan anam. Country without soul. And maybe you've read Anam Cara by John O'Donoghue. Brilliant book about Celtic spirituality. He says, when you steal a people's language, you leave their soul bewildered. And for me, honestly, the Irish diaspora has built my love for Irish and my career. People who are passionate about the soul that is deeply embedded in every word of the language. There is so much depth and magic and poetry in the language that really informs how we think, speak, connect, and laugh, even in Irish English or in whatever other languages we speak. That feeling, the language that rises from the land, basically. So we're turning that bewilderment into bilingualism. And I'll share all of these notes with you. So maybe you want to write things down, that would be helpful too. But maybe you want to sit back, relax, say things out loud, and you'll receive all the notes and all the slides. So the old school teaching method, I mean, I was kicked out of the Gaeltacht Irish summer college immersive Irish experience when I was 13 for speaking 8 words in English. I was sent home on the train from Galway to Dublin, and it did not deter me. I went back. I became Kinnera, like a prefect, and then head girl. But people in Ireland think that Irish was beaten into us. But the sad truth is, English was beaten into Irish people. And this on the left is called a tally stick, or bata scoir. And it was hung around the neck of school children. And a notch was carved every time they spoke Irish, the only language they knew. And they were beaten for speaking their own language. One of my students here is saying she's taking my courses, and she said, you know, in all my years of learning Irish at school, I never knew this because it's taught as a school subject and not as a living language. So a lot of people feel this disconnect, and they're not aware of the connection with ancient Irish culture. Thankfully, that's changing. You're probably noticing a huge flood of interest with Kneecap and on Colleen Kewen and all these fashion designers and stationery designers writing in Irish, speaking, singing, bringing back our Celtic Gaelic language. So I wanted to create a learning method that was fun, easy, accessible, convenient, effective, meaningful, and relevant. A healing and revealing journey. I started teaching, well, I always say my first Irish lesson was when I was 7 years old, teaching my American cousins Irish. They came over for Thanksgiving, and I made a little booklet about the colours and the numbers in Irish. I got my degree from Trinity College Dublin, my teaching qualification from Cambridge, and I started teaching in 2013 in the Basque Country in northern Spain. I've taught over 7,000 online lessons, many more in the classroom, and I sailed around the world teaching on the Peace Boat, the UN-sponsored NGO fostering conflict resolution and peace studies. My community, our community, has been such a source of happiness and growth and fulfillment. So I've been featured on RTE in the Irish Independent, the Irish Times, Scoil Scarta. Now with over 300,000 followers on social media. I have a newsletter. We were talking about recipes. So I have a shortbread recipe coming out tomorrow. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, irishwithmollie.com/newsletter. I have a podcast, and I'm bringing out my first book this September. So I have to send the last edits tonight. So I've also founded the biggest Irish online school in the world, the Gaeilge Online Academy, with over 9,000 students in over 70 countries around the world. You will amaze yourself with what you can learn with the right method, mindset, and motivation. Here are some of my students celebrating Irish, using and loving what they're learning. I'll send you this video at the end. They send me great feedback. So let's get going. Giarich is hello. Giarich. Say it with me. Giarich. Maybe you're looking at that going, do you do it? So Gia is God. Gia. And there's a reason why the D sounds like a J. Some people might say dia, to be fair. Different dialects, different accents, like anywhere in the world. So in Munster Irish, I teach the official standard. We would say Gia Gwich. Put it in the chat there. Gia Gwich. Gia Gwich is hello. Gia means God, and dich is for you or to you. So you're blessing someone when you're saying hello. And in Irish, the word for a blessing, bannacht, is the same word for a greeting. So I find that very beautiful, that when you're greeting someone, you're also blessing them. Let's say it together one more time. Giarich. Giarich. And the response is Gia is muiragwich. Gia is muiragwich. God and Mary for you. I'll write in the chat, Gia is muera gwech. Gia is muera gwech. In the past, believe it or not, people would say, God to you, God and Mary to you, God, Mary and Joseph, God, Mary, Joseph and Jesus, God, Mary, Joseph and Jesus and Patrick, God, Mary, Joseph, Jesus and Patrick and Bridget, and all the blessed saints. Nowadays, time is of the essence. So we just say, Gia gwech, and the response, Gia smera gwech. Maybe you're thinking, that is fierce religious. Yes, it is. Religiosity imbues lots of languages, like English. When we say goodbye, that comes from God be with you. And sometimes people ask, what about pre-Christian Ireland? Because the Irish language predates Christianity. It goes back as far as 300 BC. It predates colonization in Ireland, capitalism, the concept of a 9-to-5 job. It's an ancient indigenous language. And the truth is, we don't really know what people said because it was, an oral language, a verbal language. And only when Christianity started coming to Ireland were written records kept, or that Irish was kind of translated into the Latin alphabet or put into the Latin alphabet to be written. But there are ideas, theories that people blessed each other with different divine beings. And to say hello to a group, we say Gia Yiev. Gia Yiev. You might think, hey, ye, you plural. In Ireland, people say ye a lot. How are ye? So Gia Yiev. A BH at the end of a word, like an MH, sounds like the consistently. Gia Yiev. I'll write that in the chat. Gia Yiev. So next time you start your meeting, you can say Gia Yiev, meaning hello everyone. Gia Yiev. Gia, so that's God to you plural. Gia Yiev. You could also say good morning. Majin wa. Majin wa. Again, the D sounds like a J sound. Irish being very consistent. So majin is morning. Wa is good. And I put a note here. Majin is a feminine noun. So we add a shevu, a H to the adjective. Don't worry if that makes no sense. I'm just sprinkling seeds here. Your brain is absorbing everything. Your mind might be thinking, what? What's going on? Majinwa. Majinwa. Good morning. Let's say it together. Majinwa. 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 Good morning. So we have 4 ways to say, how are you around Ireland? The most common one, the most official standard, let's say, is on the right here, around Leinster, around Dublin. Cunas atatu. Cunas is how. Ata means is. And tu is you. Cunas atatu. So ata really means is, am, are. 3 words in English, 1 word in Irish. So cunas atatu, how are you? Cunas atatu. If you go up north, you'll hear people say, Cadé mar tatu. Or in the west, Cinchui wiltu. And in the south, west, Cunas tantu, Cunas ti. But it's absolutely fine to just learn one. Cunas ata, Cunas atatu. How are you? Cunas atatu. And the cool news is the letter C in Irish has 1 sound, k, like a Coca-Cola k sound. In English, there are about 8 different sounds. If you think of cucumber, cello, musician, Pacific Ocean has 3 C's and 3 C sounds. But in Irish, there's 1 sound, k. So, cunas atatu. Let's say it together. Cunas atatu. Annawa. Very good. So maybe we want to say, good morning. How are you? Do you remember? We'll go back. Majinwa. Majinwa. Cunas atatu. Cunas atatu. And the answer, we could say, tá mé guma. In pink, you have the phonetic aid. Tá mé means I am. May is I, and we'll have a look at the verb structure, where it comes first in the word, in the sentence. So tá is the verb, mé, the pronoun, me or I. Tá mé guma, I am well, or I am good. Tá mé guma. Gurav Mahagot, thank you. We'll have another look at Gurav Mahagot. But here, just to answer conna satatu, how are you? Tá mé go maith. Tá mé go maith. I am well. Gurav mahagat. Thank you. Gurav mahagat. So learning Irish really has proven benefits. I can send about 100 articles, journals, scientific studies on this. It's a linguistic phenomenon, basically. Relieves anxiety, increases creativity, improves self-esteem, delays and reduces Alzheimer's and dementia, strengthens our memory, enhances cultural awareness and empathy, improves academic performance in all areas, boosts motivation, concentration, discipline, and expands perspective. And a very useful one, it creates really strong passwords. And it's a great code language for getting away with things. So learning Irish, especially our ancestral language. So I'm sure for most people here, it is our ancestral language. But even if you're new to Irish or you're connected with the association and someone you love is Irish, it's proven that these benefits, especially the feeling of comfort and freedom, a feeling of alignment, people say they're able to connect with their soul a bit more and their Irish psyche, and a pre-colonized version of that. So feel the benefits in your journey. Did you know An Rev Isagat? An Rev Isagat up here on the right means was the knowledge at you, because we have no verb to have. We have no verb to know. We say was the knowledge at you. There are broad vowels, A, O, and U are broad, and slender vowels, I and E. You might think .ie is the .com for Ireland, and they connect every word, like magnets, like glue, clicking the words together. So for example, Seamus, a masculine name, Seamus, 2 syllables, 2 beats to the word. It's stuck together. The M, the consonant, is in the middle, Seamus, and then on either side, they're both broad. A and U are both broad. Agus means and, so you see agus, the G is breaking the word apart, and the A and the U are sticking it together. And moire, you have I and E before and after the or. Look out for this, because this sort of vowel harmony is extremely rare in languages, and it affects the pronunciation, the spelling, and the grammar. So it's a really intricate spelling system. At school, we learn lahan le lahan, quail le quail, broad with broad, slender with slender. And a student of mine said recently, lahan le lahan, quail le quail. Ach, lahan le quail, rocky to go jail. If you put broad with slender, you're going to jail. So you can put them in the same syllable, but not before and after a consonant. For example, the shanachal, the proverb that we saw, Tir gan changa, tir gan anam. You see the third word, changa. If you speak your changa, you can't go wrong. So changa is stuck together with broad vowels. Changa. It means tongue and language. And the last word, anam, meaning soul. You see, it's also stuck together with broad vowels. So you'll start to see this everywhere, even very long words. They're stuck together with broad or slender vowels. So Gaeilge is our Janga, our nonam, our language, our soul. And Gaeilge is the Irish name for Irish. It's about a millennium older than English, with the oldest vernacular literature in Western Europe. It's an Indo-European language, a Gaelic language, a Celtic language. And so Old Irish evolved into Scottish, Gaelic, and Manx. So they're the 3 Gaelic languages. And you would not believe how often, at least 3 times a day, people say, "Don't you mean Gaelic?" And I think there's a big difference between saying "do you mean" and "don't you mean." If they say "do you mean," no, there are 3 Gaelic languages. So it's a bit inaccurate and confusing to call one of them Gaelic. But I think it's very interesting the way in the States and in Canada people normally call the language Gaelic. probably because the word Gaeilge anglicized to Gaelic. And a lot of people who moved over during the Gurtha Mór, the famine, and before and after that, probably a lot of them only spoke Gaeilge. And so when they said what language they spoke, it was anglicized into Gaelic. So in Ireland, we call it Gaeilge or Irish. But it's very interesting how people want to fight me on that. And I'm like, I am Irish with Mollie. It's not it's not Gaelic with Mollie because a lot of people associate Gaelic with Gaelic, which is Scottish Gaelic. Similar language, but considered a different language. So it has some similarities. Then we have our Celtic cousins, Welsh, Breton, and Cornish. And that is the Brythonic branch. So you have the Goidelic branch and the Brythonic branch, 6 surviving Celtic languages. And it's a compulsory subject in Irish schools. So the history of the language goes way back. The primitive Irish that was first written on ogham stones, these standing stones with dashes and dots, normally denoting tribal ownership or even burial stones, are still visible today. There's about 400 of them in County Kerry. Even in France, Spain, Wales, England, Scotland, we can see some. Old Irish was developing in the 5th century, Middle Irish in the 10th century. Centuries of occupation and oppression. Early modern Irish was evolving in the 13th century. The Great Famine was between 1845 and 52. And Ireland officially declared a republic in 1949. So now we're speaking modern Irish. It's called modern Irish. In 2022, I think it was actually 2002, Irish became an official EU language. And it's the least spoken EU language. But that gives it a lot of rights, and support in terms of hiring translators, interpreters, and translating everything, all the official documents into Irish. So it's our national language, our official language, our first official one. The first is Irish, the second is English, and the third is ISL, Irish Sign Language. And it's a minority language, an endangered language. It's listed as definitely endangered on the UNESCO Atlas of World Languages. So the next step is vulnerable. And I encourage my students, be vulnerable, because the next step after that is safe. And that's where we're going with the language. And it's an indigenous language offering indigenous insights. So Irish is definitely endangered due to colonization, 800 years of oppression, the famine, genocide, causing native speakers emigration and death, identity crisis, irrelevant and dry curriculum in schools, and a negative mindset in general about learning. There's a lot of fear, shame, and resentment. And I think that is changing rapidly with younger generations. Maybe you've heard of the Gaeltacht, the TikTok Gaeltacht. So people living their life through Irish online. And also thanks to the Irish diaspora, people who grew up preserving, protecting the language, like many of you, celebrating their Irish roots, really loving that connection to Ireland, visiting Ireland whenever you could, and supporting all of these schools and institutions and searching for teachers like me. So this is changing, thankfully. So, like I mentioned, my mission is to demystify and democratize the language because learning Irish is joyful and logical, and it contributes to an imaginative enhancement, well-being, creativity, and a healthy sense of identity. So nowadays, only about 1.5% of the population speak it every day, but that is really growing as we speak. So let's have a look at some more practical language. Cup on cafe. Now, I don't know why she's in her socks in the coffee shop or why her husband or boyfriend has an apron on. But anyway, cup on cafe is a cup of coffee. So he's offering her cup on cafe. Another way you could introduce Irish to your life just by changing cup of coffee to cup on cafe. Say it with me. Cup on cafe. And you want to say please. Le the hull. Le the hull. I'll write in the chat the phonetic aid. Le the hull really means with your wish. with your will. And I love this sense of agency that you grant to the listener. It nearly makes please sound demanding. Pint of Guinness, please. Like, you do that for me. That's transactional. But Irish is very relational. Ledahull, with your wish. We could also say, Moshe the Hole, meaning if it is your wish. So there's a sense of collaboration between Irish speakers that doesn't seem to exist in the same way in the English language. So let's practice cupán café, ledahull. Or if you want to order one, we'll have a look again, but cupán café ledahull. Cup of coffee, please. Gra, like my mum says, the cup of coffee or tea that's made for you tastes better. So there's gra in the cup. And if you want to give something to someone, shu ditch. Shu means this. Ditch, like we saw, is for you. When we looked at hello, diarwich, God to you. So now shu ditch. Here you go. So that's an easy one. Shu ditch. You can use it in the office, at home. Shu ditch. Whenever you give something to someone. Shu ditch, meaning this for you. And the way we say thank you, Gurav Mahagot. Gurav Mahagot. Gurav Mahagot really means may you have goodness. Gurav Mahagot. May goodness be at you. Gurav Mahagot. Say it with me. Gurav Mahagot. Anua. Tá fulcha rowet. So we saw fulcha in the beginning. Fulcha is welcome. Tá is the verb. The verb comes first. And rowet means before you. So I think of a carpet being rolled out. There is welcome before you. Irish is full of prepositions. Things are on me, at me, within me, beside me, around me. So it gives us a new lens and perspective on reality. So here we're literally saying there is welcome before you. Tá fulcha rowet. One more time together. Tá fulcha rowet. Did you know, on rev isagat, there is no word for yes or no in Irish. We have no word that means yes and no word that means no. We answer with the verb. So it's very common to hear a conversation between Irish people like, are you Mollie? I am. Do you live in Dublin? I do. Have you got a brother? I have. Would you like a cup of tea? I would. No, I wouldn't, to be fair. We're answering with the verb in question. And this helps us process language on a much deeper level. We can't get away with pretending to listen. I have a student who grew up with an Irish father who wouldn't take yes or no for an answer. He'd be like, will you mow the lawn? Yeah. Will you? Yes, Dad. Will you mow the lawn? Yes. He wanted to hear, I will, or I will mow the lawn. So it's like we're avoiding saying yes and no. For example, with the be verb. So the verb to be in Irish is called be I fada. And the question in the present tense is an will. An will means is, am, are. An will to, gama. Are you well? An will to gama. Let's say it together. An will to gama. Are you well? An will to gama. Tá means am. You could say tá me, I am. But tá will suffice, just the verb. Tá. And the negative, níl. Níl comes from ní will. An will, ní will. So we're echoing the question. So where there's a will, there's a tá. An will tu gama, are you well? And this is why in Donegal, Derry, Wexford, people hardly say hello or how are you? They might just say well. And you might respond well. If they say, even if they say, how are you? No need to tell them how you are. Just, how are you? Back will suffice, in English anyway. An will tu gama, tá. The copula is a classification structure for saying what a thing is. For example, an munchurhu, are you a teacher? We answer, sha, it is so. Niha, not so. Or for example, an ishka e, is it water? Sha. An ishka baha e, is it the water of life? Whiskey, niha. Not so. So a lot of people, after 14 years of formal education, think that tá means yes or sha means yes, but they're not applicable to every affirmative answer. They're kind of linked to their question. So tá is the be verb and sha is the copula. And then all the other verbs like clush, the third one, meaning to hear, we answer with the verb. Chulatu, did you hear? Chulame, I heard. Near chulame, I didn't hear. So it's a very connected way of speaking because you're echoing what the other person is saying. So I know this is a lot to take on, but it's just to highlight the point. There is no yes or no in Irish. So let's go back to the first one just to practice. An bhfuil tú go maith? An bhfuil tú go maith? Are you well? Tá. Níl. An Noah. We will have time for Q&A if you have any questions at all, so feel free to write them down or put them in the chat. So the verb being tá, it starts the sentence. We say tá ocras literally, hunger is on me. Feelings in Irish are on us. You could think O for on, O for on me. Sounds like two syllables. This is called epenthesis, the addition of a vowel sound. We do this in English in Ireland when we say film. You know that film? I love that film. Because it's much more fun and it's much easier to say than film. So tá ocras hunger is on me. Ocras sounds like a hollow stomach kind of feel. Tá ocras Tá áthas áthas is happiness. Áthas. TH sounds like h consistently, always. It's an aspirant, breathy h sound. And this is probably why we get mocked for not pronouncing our THs. You know, people say 33 and a third, etc. Because we don't have that sound in Irish. So tá áthas The word áthas is so onomatopoeic. It really has the feeling of happiness in the word, a bit like that experiment with the pen in the mouth. If you hold a pen in your mouth, the muscles in your face communicate with the neurotransmitters in your brain to say, I'm happy, I'm smiling, so I must be happy. Release the dopamine, release the serotonin. So Irish has this built into the language. Áthas makes you look happy and feel happy when you say it. Tá áthas Tá farrig Farrig. Farrig is anger. It's so plosive, frustrated. Tá farrig Again, we hear epenthesis, the addition of a vowel sound. So it sounds like two syllables. Farrig. Tá farrig Very cathartic. Next time you stub your toe, you can say tá farrig Anger is on me. Tá farrig Tá brón Brón. Brón is sadness or sorrow. And it makes you look sad, feel sad, and sound sad. This is also how we say, I'm sorry. And how tender to express an apology with the empathy that it warrants. So in English, we say, I am sad, I am depressed, I am anxious, I am Mollie, I am a teacher, as if it's all me and my fault or, encapsulated. Whereas in Irish, the feelings are on us. They come and go. Feelings do not define us. And that's the truth. They're like scattered showers and sunny spells, like an Irish weather forecast. So it releases us. And in a way, it helps us have a more healthy relationship with moments of sorrow, grief, moments of happiness, realizing we're not attached. It doesn't define us. So did you know, on Rev Isagat, only around 6.7% of all the world's languages start with the verb. And as we've seen, Irish starts with the verb. It's a verb subject object language. So the verb comes first, bringing a sense of urgency, immediacy, storytelling action to the beginning of the sentence. Other languages that use the VSO structure include Arabic, Classic Maya, Filipino, Hawaiian, Scottish Gaelic, and Tongan. And this is why in English, in Ireland, we say things like, says she to me, and says I to her, says you, starting with the verb. And I think this is why we have such a plethora of poets and playwrights and writers, and the way we think is a bit different. So, Jer she lum, literally, says she to me. We start with the verb. Even the word scale, meaning story, in Irish, comes from Proto-Celtic sec, meaning to say. So it's like when we're just saying something, it's a story. So in Irish, we don't say hello. An cuivanlaat, do you remember what we say? Beginning with D, we say Giarich. Shine, that's it. Giarich. God to you. Let's say it out loud. Giarich. I'm also a Zumba teacher, a dance teacher, and I say to my students, you can't learn choreography in your head. Sometimes I try. I'm on the train, no time to dance it out. I need to just look at the steps. Like a language, you need to do it to remember the words and the sounds and the feeling. So, Giarich, God to you is hello. Giarich. Giarich. In Irish, we don't say please. An cuivanlaat, do you remember? And if you don't, no worries. The work your brain is doing to try to remember is priming your brain for the correct answer when you see it. There's a great book called How We Learn by Benedict Carey with really, really good learning strategies. So instead of please, we say le the hull. Le the hull. Literally with your wish, with your will. Le the hull. Le the hull. In Irish, we don't say thank you. We say Gurav Mahagat. Gurav Mahagat. May you have goodness. Gurav Mahagat. Gurav Mahagat. So we're stressing the ma because ma means good. Maybe you remember good morning. Majin wa. So Gurav Mahagat. The other words are grammar words. You know, that it were, may it be, at you. But ma is the real word here. So it's Gurav Mahagat. Da 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 da. Gurav Mahagat. Say it with me. Gurav Mahagat. Gurav Mahagat. In Irish, we don't say you're welcome. Maybe you remember welcome, beginning with F. We say Tá fáilte roit. Tá fáilte roit. There is welcome before you. Tá fáilte roit. In Irish, we don't say I speak Irish. We could say Lauriam Gaeilge with the verb lawid, to speak. But it's much more common, much more Irish to say Tá Gaeilge agam. Irish is at me. So like we have seen, feelings are on me, O for on, O for urim. Now we have at. A for at, A for agam. We have no verb to have in Irish. What does that say about attachment or ownership, possession? What does it say about spirituality? This oneness, this sense of mehel, a group that would cut turf together and warm each other. So I think that lasts even today, this sense of togetherness. But anyway, I digress. Tá Gaeilge agam. Irish is at me. We say things like, I have a good bit of Japanese, I have a little bit of Spanish. We talk about having languages. And we even say things like, he has great chat, if someone is a good talker. So the question, let's look at the yellow post-it. On will is the question. Is, are, am, on will. Tá is the positive answer. And níl is the negative answer. So where there's a will, there's a tá. So anytime you hear a question on will, you're going to answer tá if it's positive, níl if it's negative. So on will gaeilge agat, is Irish at you? Do you have Irish? Great question to ask next time you're in Ireland. On will gaeilge agat. Some of my students, I hosted my first retreat on Inishmore in Galway, and some of them would ask the staff, on will gaeilge agat? And you know, Irish people can be self-deprecating. Oh, no, I haven't much Irish. Oh, okay. They say, I was going to tip you really well if you could do this whole thing in Irish. So it's worth it to have Irish. And actually, we'll have a look at ordering in Irish. You can get €1 off your pint or €1 off your coffee for celebrating and preserving the language. So, on will gaeilge agat, is Irish at you? Do you have Irish? Tá, tis. You could say tá cúpla focal agam. A couple of words. Cúpla focal. Cúpla, focal. There's a joke. Words mean focal to Irish people. So cúpla focal is a couple of words. And I love sana siocht etymology. For example, this word madra ishka is literally a water dog, an otter. And the word sana siocht etymology comes from Proto-Celtic sanas, meaning a whisper of advice. So the etymology, the root of the word, is whispering advice to us, which I think is gahalin, beautiful. So here are some of my favorite words. Life is better with a cúpla focal. We have madra ishka, the water dog, the otter. Madra rua is a red dog or a fox. Meal more, a big louse or a whale. We had that word more, meaning big, when we looked at gra more, big love. So a whale kind of looks like a big louse when you think about it, when you see these lines on his chest. Strange. How did our ancestors know? Mongolum is a cocktail. Mongolum. Sounds like an amalgamation. Mongolum. If I ever open a cocktail bar, I'll definitely call it Mongolum. And smuggerlia rowan, everyone's favorite word in Irish. The phlegm or the snot of a seal is a jellyfish. Smuggerlia rowan. So, tá tart orm. There's a thirst on me. We say, feelings are on us. And even in English, we say things like, have you got a desire on you to go to the pictures? Or I have a hangover on me. Or I have a thirst on me. I have a hunger on me. So tart is thirst. Tá tart orm. And I want to order something. And like I said, in pubs, bars, restaurants, cafes, ice cream parlours, t-shirt shops, loads of places around Ireland now and around the world, there are hefty discounts for ordering as gaeilge in Irish. So to order, we would say bwa lum. Bwa lum. So in the yellow post-it you see on the top right, b means would be. Wa means good. And lum with me. So now we've seen urum on me, agam at me, lum with me. They all end with M. Bwa lum. I would like. Maybe you can associate the w sound. I would, bwa. And the L, I would like. Bwa lum. Bwa lum. I would like. Bwa lum. Piont Guinness. Led the hull with your wish. Let's say it together. Bwa lum. Piont Guinness. Led the hull. Bwa lum, I would like. Bwa lum pianta biorach, a pint of beer. Let the hull with your wish. Bwa lum cup on tea, a cup of tea. Cup on tea, let the hull. You could, if you like, leave out the bwa lum and just say cup on tea, let the hull. Cup of tea, please. Cup on cafe, let the hull. Glinja ishka, let the hull. A glass of water. The word ishka sounds like gushing, cascading water. Ishka. And that's where we get the word whiskey in English and Scottish, Gaelic. So fuishka, sometimes people say. So glinja ishka, a glass of water. Glinja fianna, a glass of wine. Glynne fianna. Ishke baha is the water of life. Whiskey. Leatherhull. So you remember I would like. B wa lum. Bwa lum. Let's make our orders. Bwa lum. Cup on tay. Leatherhull. So your man brings over a monglum, a cocktail, and you want to say thank you. We saw Gurav Mahagat is thank you. Gurav Mahagat. Gurav Mahagat really means may you have goodness. Tá fulche roet. There is welcome before you. Tá fulche roet. The pink there is the phonetic aid. Tá fulche roet. Sláinte is cheers. Sláinte really means health. So we're wishing our companions good health. Sláinte. So you hear the long aw sound, the fada over the a. Sláinte. My brother, Seamus, worked in San Diego as a surf instructor for some summers when he was in his early 20s. And he went to a party and a girl came over and she said, Slainty. And he was like, And she said, Slainty. And he's like, oh, Sláinte has a fada. And she goes, Slainty has a fada. So the fada is the accent. Sláinte. Anawa. Sláinte is health. Sláinte. Did you know on Rev Isagat there are only 11 irregular verbs in Irish? So English has 220. Other languages have up to 600. And Irish only has 11. And they're so common and useful, as you see, to be, to say, to see, to get, to go, to do. You could talk for 2 months using only these 11 verbs, pretty much. And only these 6 on the left are super irregular, the super 6. So be, aber, fec, fi, che, agus, jean. These 6, they break the rules. They're not as consistent. So regular verbs, you just add a H or you add this ending. But with irregular verbs, there's a bit more going on. And those 6 require some memorization, some focus. But these 5 on the right are not that irregular. They hardly deserve to be called irregular verbs. But how am I going to remember these, says you? Bertie Ahern, Fianna Fáil, TD. Maybe you know Bertie. Bertie was our Taoiseach, our chief, our prime minister, when I was a Colleen Og, when I was a young girl. And he was a Fianna Fáil TD. Fianna Fáil is a political party in Ireland, meaning warriors of destiny. And I think they would probably have a lot more success if they told people that that's what their name is. Warriors of destiny. And TD means Teach the Dála, member of parliament, basically. So he was a Fianna Fáil TD, like an MP for Fianna Fáil. But if you don't know Bertie Ahern or Fianna Fáil, maybe you could remember bring all French fries to dinner. A student of mine came up with that recently. I think it's brilliant. And on the right, to remember these 5, you could remember cute bear 'tis Irish terrain, because Ireland looks like a cute bear. The koala, I know, is not a bear, but it looks like a cute bear, and so does Ireland. Slán is goodbye. Slán. Let's say it together. Slán. We have that long aw sound. Slán. It turned into so long. And slán comes from the etymology of safe, secure. So when we're saying goodbye, we're really wishing someone safe journey. So it's very common in Ireland to hear safe home. And in Irish, we say slán a bhaile or slán go fóill, bye for now, really means safe for now. Tuair ada on the right means take care. Tuair ada. And because there was so much emigration to places like Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, all these places in the north of England over the years, they still say ta-ra. If you're watching Coronation Street or if you head over to England, you'll hear ta-ra. And apparently that comes from tuair ada. But there's a great book called Gaeilge I Learfol, Irish in Liverpool. And they even have specific phrases that come directly from Irish, like tuair a wach, meaning take care, son. And it's just written in a different way, but it's a direct translation. So we looked at loads of different things. Let's try to recap. Let's go over them again, say them out loud, and see if you can remember. Maybe write them down, and then we'll check if you got them. So, this kind of exercise, even if you get it wrong, is very good for memory. It's very, very good for retaining the correct answer when you see it. So, Fulcha. Say it with me. Fulcha. Do you remember what it meant? We'll have a look in a moment. Is mishe Mollie. Is mishe Mollie. And you said, is mishe Rosie, or is mishe Mara. Giorich. Giorich. Do you remember what it means? Tá áheth aram. Áheth gives us a big clue. Tá áheth aram. Bwalum. W-w-l-l. Bwalum. Tá gailge agam. Ledahul. Gurav mahagat. And tá fulche rowat. So here they are. There's an L missing in your welcome at the bottom. Tuair mahunastum, give me goodness, means forgive me. I'll add that in before I send the notes. So here we are. And if you'd like to learn more with me, I'd absolutely love to welcome you into our community. I have the largest online Irish school in the world called the Gaeilge Online Academy, which is a fun, revolutionary method to learn Irish online at your own pace, connecting with Ireland's deep cultural traditions and revitalising the endangered language of our ancestors. So these are self-paced courses. They're on demand. There's over 170 hours of content, organised, structured lessons. We have a huge global student community, a 24/7 Zoom room, my daily support, weekly live lessons, all included. You can study on your phone, laptop, tablet, computer, smart TV, all at the same time if you like. Downloadable notes and summaries. So if you go to irishwithmollie.com/courses, this link here, you'll see everything that is included, and feel free to ask me any questions. And if you'd like to reach out on Instagram or TikTok or by email or through my website, you can find me Irish with Mollie at all of these. Gurv mil mahagwiv as ve an seo. Thanks a million for being here. Such a pleasure to share some of our expressions and some of the fun facts and aspects of our language with you. If you've any questions, I'd love to hear them.
You could raise your hand. It was wonderful. It looks like Noreen has a question.
Sure.
You want to unmute Noreen?
I didn't have a question.
Oh, sorry.
No, Noreen's clapping.
I was clapping.
All right, sorry.
Matthew's raised his hand.
Yep.
Hi, Matthew.
You're on mute.
I think you're muted. I think you need to unmute, yeah. We can't hear you.
I've asked him to unmute.
Here we go.
Matthew.
Ah, great.
Great.
I can hear you now.
Jewish.
Smerwich.
Is Misha Matthew Wallace Gross agus is Munshore May in Boston agus Tommy Gulga Donny Nagal Egon Shockton Le Mowak Liam agus is Fulham Gwelig Anish agus couple of Fokalagam. So I don't know if you can understand.
Tá níos mó ná cúpla focal agat. You've more than a few words. Tá mé tóca. I'm taken. I'm impressed. Sin gahintach ar fad. Mahu. Fair play to you.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I just if I could learn enough to order a little bia and on Violon, I'd be well pleased. So
you're definitely on your way there.
And embarrass my son. So
no.
So,
I saw a brilliant comedian talking about how she met a barista, a guy in a coffee shop in London, and he heard her accent and he realized she was Irish. So he started speaking Irish and he was really good, like yourself, like just impressive. And she couldn't really understand because she had let her own Irish fade. And then he said, "Oh, can you understand me?" And she goes, "No, not really." And he goes, "Is it because of my accent?" And she said, "Yeah." But she was just being mean, you know? But no, your accent, your pronunciation is wonderful. Keep up the good
Well,
work.
that's good to hear. So I have a question for you. So we're mostly going to be in Inishowen, but we're going to be taking a little side trip into the Donegal Gaeltacht. And it's most of the Irish I've heard, I'm sad to say I somehow have never stumbled upon you and all my YouTubing, but I certainly will be looking into that. But it- when most of the Irish language courses I've seen, or like little bite-sized Irish pieces I've seen, mostly seem to be that standard. What is that, Munster Irish that you'd learn in Skull, to get your leaving cert. But
Mm.
where we're going to be in Donegal, it seems like the pronunciation is different. Some of the words used are different. The phrases. So like when you're asking, Conasatati, what's it, Kajamar
Yeah.
Tatu or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice.
Will they understand you if you're using the
They
I
will.
learned this? They will. Okay. All right.
Definitely. I think they'll find it easier to understand you or me than we would understanding them.
Okay.
So, but then it takes a few days, like I spent some time in Donegal, they'll say instead of, yeah, how are you? Instead of Majin wa, good morning, they say Majin wai. So there's
Why?
that
Yeah. Yeah.
I sound, and instead of like dove, the color black, they say do. So a
Yeah.
lot of, or egjanev, I would say doing or making. Egjanev, they say egjanu. So a lot of
Okay.
ooh sounds. So I think it's like cracking a code. You realize, okay, I changed that to that.
Okay.
But they're really friendly and lovely up there, and I think very helpful and will, you know, help you along. But that's brilliant to hear that you're spending some time. Will you be studying there or just traveling around?
Not studying. I just try to pick up what I can. Like I said, if I could order, a burger or something like that,
Yeah,
in my,
Mahu.
then I'd be,
Great.
like I said, I'd be happy. Just enough to do that. I'm not sure I'll be following anybody's conversation very well, native speakers, but I just think it's a nice way to keep a little of the Irish heritage alive. All my Irish ancestors, um, you know, they're so far removed. They're mostly famine Irish, and they would have spoken Irish, but that's been lost. And so it's nice to just even keeping like just a few words, a couple of
Yeah.
phrases, just using them. Even like just saying something to my wife, or she doesn't know what I'm talking about, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. Or the kids in my class, it's like a what is it, a bun skull? Like
Oh
they're
yeah.
little
Fun
kids.
school,
They're
primary school. Cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's
That's
fun.
great. I think it's so important. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Mahu,
thank you.
Brodul Asad, proud of you.
Ah,
That's really good.
shucks. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions, you guys?
Molly, you mentioned a book near the beginning and you quoted out of it. What was that book title? Would you be able to maybe type it in the
Sure.
chat?
So I'm not sure if that actual quote is from the book, but the book is Anam Cara by John O'Donoghue. And it's a brilliant book. You might see the C has a dot over it instead of the H being there. That's like an old Clo Gaelic, an old way of writing.
Okay.
But yeah, Anam Cara means soul friend or soulmate, but not so much in a romantic sense. It could be romantic, but it's more like, you know, about how you feel about your ancestors or your friend or your mentor or someone.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Gurv Mahagat Bernard, I see a lovely comment here. Gurv Mahagat, thank you.
I didn't see any
Agus
other
Mara.
questions in the chat though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So your dad used to say, "Will you shut the door, Masha Dale?" Yeah, a lot of people remember Dún an Doras. Close the door, shut the door, Dún an Doras. The book was How We Learn by Benedict Carey. Yeah, that's another excellent book. Just about learning in general. It's not really about the Irish language. Thank you for sharing the link there.
Matthew, when are you going to be in Inishowen?
I'm going to be in Inishowen in about 7 weeks' time. So I'm going to miss the get together with Clan O'Doherty, but I'll be around. I'm planning to get to some of the sites. We're staying in the Inishowen Gateway Hotel.
Oh, it's a lovely
So
hotel.
Gateway to Inishowen, I think is what it's called. But
Yeah, it's a
I
lovely
think that's in
hotel.
Buncrana, if I'm not
It
mistaken.
is.
So
It is. Just
so
as you just go into Buncrana. Yeah.
yeah, so it looks like it's not too far from some of the, well, nothing's too far from the the Doherty sites when you're in a show, and obviously, but so looking forward to getting around there and seeing some of the sites and learning a little bit more. I was to for Mollie. My dad was adopted, and we found out that he was O'Doherty. So it's been really fun to get in touch with my heritage that way, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a blast. So, and the folks here have been great too. It's like Zach. I don't know if Zach's on this, but
Yeah,
Zach's
he's
been
not on
great with
this
the
call.
YDNA project. And what's that?
He's not on this call, but
He's
he
not
has
in this call,
our YDNA
but
call project.
yeah. So it's been really neat. I will say I've been to Ireland twice. My wife's grandma is from what is that? Dungannahesh or Dingle Peninsula there.
Ah.
Um, so she, we spent a couple of trips there when my son was small, and then I went on another one with her dad. So, it's fun, and it's been nice getting in touch with. I felt what I brought that up for was, the first time I went there, I'd never been there before, but I remember stepping off the plane in Shannon and driving through the countryside and never been there before, and something about it seemed familiar. I don't know if anybody else had that
Mm.
experience.
No,
It sounds
absolutely.
kind of woo-woo, but okay, all right. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
Absolutely.
yeah. So, but
Yeah. It's incredible. And I think sometimes when people hear the language, they tell me it's like remembering something rather than learning something.
Yeah.
hmm,
And Michael D. Higgins, our president, said he had a teacher at school who told him that if you focus hard enough, you can remember any word because it is your ancestral language. So that's
hmm.
taken it to
Well,
another level. But
That's
yeah,
great. That's great.
but I think it's very cool because, as we see, there's so much meaning in the words, and it seems to connect with how the Irish people are. So it really is like a soul connection. But I agree with the land as well, and the air and the waves, and just being there.
Well,
And
they're playing the Irish. What is the Irish soap opera there? The oh, what's that one that's
Ross Naroon.
yeah, Ross Naroon, Ross Naroon.
Yeah.
And you could, I will say, I picked up more and more as I've been learning some of the words. So it's like, oh, I know what that means. Oh, I know what she
Yeah.
said. So it's
It's
kind of
just
fun.
clackta, practice, clackta,
Yeah.
clackta, clackta.
Do you
and
think
I love
that
to see.
space repetition is what is your philosophy as far as teaching language? It's space repetition, or do you have another way that you go about it, or maybe that's
So
too
I
big of a
do a lot
question?
of test, teach, test, and the dogme method. And because we have so many opportunities in these courses to read and write and speak and listen, I've been researching, these areas of the brain for output and input. So even though you might not be speaking out loud, if you're writing and thinking about structure and focused on order of words and vocabulary and looking up a word and forgetting it and looking it up again, it's amazing how it can improve your speaking.
Hmm.
It doesn't delay your speaking. It would definitely accelerate it. But even if you're completely silent, it's like, these stories of geniuses who burst out into full sentences after age 4 without ever having said a word. So it's like the more you write and create in Irish, like you could write your daily gratitude journal, your shopping list, write messages in the community or even on Facebook or wherever you can. It's so good for your brain and it really builds. So I think with my courses, yeah, there's a lot of interaction and quizzes and some repetition and a lot of songs as well. And I've been studying different learning types and working with different needs. So a lot of people who have dyslexia or different learning styles tell me, wow, I thought I was bad at languages or I thought I wasn't able to learn. And unfortunately, in Ireland, there were 20,000 exemptions given last year for people. And it's just ridiculous to tell a child, oh, because you arrived in Ireland after age 7, you can't learn Irish. Or because you aren't getting an A in the test. You can't learn your own native language. It's like, it shouldn't be marked like that, you know? So I think if you bring joy into it, then memory improves naturally. And you bring like relevance, you know, learning about things that you actually need and creating situations. So I have one course called Daily Conversations, which is 25 scenarios, like singing a song at an Irish funeral, or making a wedding toast for a wedding, or going to the gym, going to a hotel, sending something at the post office. So it's really functional language. And I think that's what helps people realize this is a living language and I want to go to Ireland and do this, or I want to go down the road and like buy my coffee in Irish and just get over the barriers of shame or frustration.
It's really good advice.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, James.
No, I'm fine.
Okay,
Thank you, Eva.
thanks. Kathleen, did you have a question? Your hands up.
Yes, I do. Hi, Mollie.
Hello.
As somebody who struggles with learning languages, at school I couldn't. I'm Scottish, obviously. Struggled with the likes of French and Spanish. The only language as an adult I managed to get somewhere with was German. And I think that's because some of the sounds are the same. And I'm just wondering if you've found that anyone, or if people whose first language is something in particular find it easier to learn Irish.
Great question. I think the is it sad news for us? English speakers find Irish difficult because English is orthographically deep. It is highly inconsistent, irregular. I've also taught English for about 14 years. And if you speak other languages, you're used to looking at a word and sounding it out, like you say, maybe with German, you know, yeah, Irish makes more sense, actually. I have a free pronunciation guide on my website if you want to check it out, just to see how words, you know, it's all about the tongue and the ease and flow of speech and not breaking, not interrupting the tongue in its journey, basically. So I think it's definitely possible for anyone to learn Irish. And I think it's kind of a mindset, first of all, a kind of like accepting, okay, I don't understand everything, but I'm going to keep going. And then practicing, getting the sounds and having motivation or accountability. But yeah, I think it really depends because I have students from all over. Sometimes people are Chinese or Russian and Hungarian learning Irish and speaking really well. I think it really depends sometimes on people's influences, first language interference, or maybe they've studied other languages. If you've studied other languages, it makes it easier because you know that it's a different language and you understand it's going to have different structures and words. But yeah, I think a lot of
too
factors.
the emotional attachment makes a difference.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think gamifying it, making it, you know, more joyful, meaningful, relevant, fun, having like a community, you know, like you guys
Yeah.
seem to have a beautiful community and it's very motivating to then look forward to a live session and look forward to speaking to your teacher and your classmates and have a reason to connect and have challenges as well and a lot of support. So I think that's something that really works, you know, having access, lifetime access with my courses and people having my daily support so they can always contact me and ask any questions, etc.
Thank you. That's really helpful.
You're very welcome. Tá fáilte ród.
Yep. So any other questions? We had said, Mollie, that we would be with her for about an hour and she needs to go in a minute or so. So just if there's any last questions, we'd be happy to take one. And Mollie, I'm very excited to even join one of your courses. I just appreciate the ones that the free classes that you've done every once in a while online. I've taken those and I just appreciate your enthusiasm and how easy you make it to figure it out and practice. And so that overcoming the shame thing, I'm gonna sit with that for a little while and see.
Yeah, I say turn that noida into goida. Noida is shame and goida is laughter. And it's proven when we're laughing, we're learning more. You know, we're ready to learn. I appreciate that. Gurv mila mila mahagat and Gurv mila mahagwev galer. Thank you all so much. It's been really, really beautiful to meet you. And please do reach out if you have any questions at all. And you can see more materials and resources through this link and also on my website. So I'd love to hear from you if you have any questions or feedback anytime. Do get in touch.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Mollie.
Thank you.
And we will,
Mila.
we're gonna send the recording out to everyone that has signed up for the class and also put it up on our, like I said, our brand new YouTube channel we're very excited about. So
Yeah, co-gorgeous. Congratulations.
thank you.
Hope it goes well and enjoy your trip to Ireland.
Yes,
I hope everyone has a lovely summer.
thank you. Thanks,
Enjoy,
Molly.
Matthew.
Thank you,
Thanks,
you
everyone.
too.
All
Take
right.
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
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 Slán.
Slán.
Bye.
Slán.
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 Slán. Gach